Welcome back to AM Northwest. You know, extreme winter weather can take a toll on local wildlife. Here to share how we can help them, we welcome back from Portland Audubon senior educator Brodie Talbot. Good to have you with us again.
Thanks so much.
I think during that big ice spell that we had for a while and how cold it was, I mean freezing, a lot of us were worried about the birds out there and what to do. For instance, I was like putting hot water in the bird bath, and then I swear to goodness it would freeze over in no time at all. So what should we be thinking about when it comes to keeping our birds safe?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think a lot of us, when we have these extreme winter weather events, are really concerned about our human neighbors and our wildlife neighbors.
Absolutely.
And they do, it is a really challenging time for wildlife, especially birds, because birds, you know, a lot of other wildlife can hibernate, have thick fur, can pack on a lot of extra weight. Birds aren't really able to do that because they need to be able to fly. And so what they really have going for them is really fast metabolism. So
I wish I had that. Okay, tell me about this bird. What kind of bird is this?
Yeah, so this is a dark-eyed junco. It's one of our kind of more common birds, and it is really well adapted for winter life because they do breed up in the mountains and they can live pretty far north. But a dark-eyed junco, for example, overnight, their metabolisms are so fast that overnight it can lose 7% of its body weight.
Really?
While it's sleeping. So not to give too much away, but that'd be like me losing 15 pounds.
Wow.
And so when they wake up, it's really important that they're able to put that food back, that weight back on to be ready for the next night. So at Portland Audubon, you know, we really do try to lead with, since we're a bird conservation organization and a wildlife conservation organization, we lead with sort of habitat level solutions. Protecting the best things we can do to birds is protecting habitats. But we also know that people like to be able to make differences in their own areas.
Right.
And
well, we think our bird areas are habitats for them.
Yeah, exactly. And we do too. And we really encourage folks with our habitat, a backyard habitat program with Columbia Land Trust to help people think about their backyards and their neighborhoods as habitat. Because birds need food, but they also need shelter.
Yeah.
So they need trees and shrubs to be able to shelter in at night, to stay warm, stay dry. Native plants that provide them with food throughout the year. I actually, on my way here, saw some cedar waxwings eating out of the tree in the parking lot.
Oh, wow.
Off of So native trees and shrubs and flowers really do provide shelter and food year round. And so that's probably the number one thing that we can do.
What are we doing wrong when it comes to taking care of birds in ice storms and bad weather?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is that the other thing, so I feed birds at home. I love feeding birds. And the biggest challenge is that that can be really important to them. For a lot of birds, that can make the difference for them because not only are they burning so much fuel, but they're also unable to get to the ground level if it's covered in ice. So that food can be really important. But food also presents a lot of hazards. So for instance, if you've got, if cats discover your feeder and start hunting your feeder, all of a sudden you've lost the benefit of that feeder.
Right.
So making sure that, that you keep your cats indoors and also if you do have cats in your neighborhood, trying to somehow exclude them from the feeders so it doesn't just become a sort of trap for the birds.
Oh, absolutely. What do we do if we run into a wild bird that's in distress?
Yeah, that does happen, and I think so we have a wildlife care center, and I don't work at the care center, but the care center they have a hotline that you're able to call, and it is open 7 days a week, and they're always interested to help folks deal with that. I think when it comes to helping birds and helping wildlife, first we have to remember that these animals do live outside, and they are adapted for it. And it may not look very comfortable, but if you do find an animal that's obviously injured or ill, you can call for advice if the Wildlife Care Center can take care of that animal. And also, just make sure that you're not putting yourself at risk. Some wildlife is dangerous. So you don't want to be injuring yourself trying to help wildlife. But
is it possible that birds can freeze on something that is too cold? I mean, can they get their little claws stuck on something? And
occasionally, it's not very common because again, they do have pretty high metabolism and they're able to keep themselves warm.
Okay.
Right. But it's I think it's pretty rare. Sometimes birds will get ice on their feathers or something like that, and so there are ways to be able to if you're able to catch them safely, take them to the care center, and we can help with stuff like that.
Let's take a look at another picture of a bird. You can tell us what we're looking at here. This is so pretty.
Yeah, so this is my colleague Tara, is a great photographer at Portland Audubon. This is a song sparrow. This is another one of our really common birds.
Yeah.
And just one of my favorite birds because they've got these beautiful songs, and they're actually starting to sing already, even though we're still midwinter. And another bird that really is loves to come to feeders. And and this is a pretty amazing image. So showing how this is a lesser goldfinch. And these birds are really adapted to be able to even just sit on.
You see, and I would think, oh no, he's stuck to the limb there, but he's fine.
Yeah. I think it can very occasionally happen that a bird might get stuck to something.
Yeah.
But generally they're able to manage, right? Because these birds have evolved alongside winter weather storms.
A friend of mine noticed that crows were, during this snap when we had snow on the ground, crows were like flocking to her front yard, and it was like a scene out of Birds. Do you have any idea what that would be about? I know I'm just throwing this question at you out of nowhere, but.
Well, I mean, one of my favorite things is, so my neighbors all know me as the bird guy, that whenever there's a big group of crows in the neighborhood, I'll run outside with my binoculars because.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because often what will happen is they've found maybe a predator somewhere.
Oh.
So in my neighborhood, I've had bald eagles and red-tailed hawks, and the funnest is when the crows find an owl in the neighborhood. And so it'll usually be in a tree that's very thick foliage.
They go toward the predator.
Yeah, because they want to, A, warn all the other crows there's an owl here.
Okay.
And B, because owls are predators of crows.
Yeah.
And B, they want to hopefully annoy the owl enough to make it leave. And so, yeah. So
it's
that
almost like a protest. It's like a Portland protest. Yeah.
Exactly.
They all gather together and
Right.
make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Right?
They're stronger in numbers.
I love it. And so you have a thing for crows?
Yeah, I mean, well, they're just incredibly smart
Smart.
creatures, and they're survivors, and just I mean, if you want to watch a bird and be entertained, there's probably nothing better than a crow.
Yeah. And so tell me one last thing about a crow. So when they drop something, is it to break it and then eat it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, incredibly smart behavior.
Yeah. It's amazing. Watch them in action. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, lots of valuable information here. All right, we'll actually put your Portland Audubon information on our website at k2.com. And we'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Don't go away.